Greetings, everyone. This is the Hipster Snek, joined today by my good friend, Clockwork Fiction.
It is good to be back.
It is. It's good to have you back. Today, the two of us are going to talk about some trends in gaming that are unfortunate, infuriating, and just bad. Just bad. But you put forth this topic for this week, Master
I wouldn't
Clockwork.
nec- I wouldn't necessarily say it's bad. I think that there are bad practices that follow it because we
That's fair.
have some games in this general little genre that we enjoy a decent amount out, and then there are some games that are just kind of they take everything to the max and it's not very good.
Right.
Our topic for today we're talking about is the general term of a live service game. Mainly in the course of what like live service game in the generality is a game that is pretty much for people who don't know, I'm putting this out there. Uh, a game that's being held up by the developers and is constantly being updated and doesn't have a real definitive ending. So your MMOs, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, your games, some of the more games that I like to play, like Warframe, and would be considered a live service game, but that one in essence, a couple things we'll go through. I find that to be one of the better versions of live service. And then you have games like your typical Call of Duty that's thrown out every single year with a bare bones single player game and the live service lifespan of 2-3 months before they throw out the next one. So
Right. Which basically propped up by the PvP scene, right?
yeah. So
That's your Valorants, your Leagues, your Overwatches, Paladins. Even though I really like Paladins, still the same idea. Like we are talking about games that basically come into the world on life support, and the instant that plug is pulled, that's it. The game no longer exists. So you're paying money in many of these cases for a game that you're not guaranteed to have.
yeah, do we have the initiatives you've seen out there, like the not the ESA, the Stop Killing Games initiative in the
Right.
UK? They're trying to make it so that way games that see an end of life don't just vanish off the face of the earth. Or if they want to make it so that way if a game, is at end of life and they want to shut down the servers, they have some sort of initiative where they try to make the game at least somewhat playable or some that way you could play it single player in some way. I don't know if it
Right.
works for all games. I like the initiative idea. I think it's a very good I think it's a very good initiative in this case. Some people think that it would be somehow the death of live service games, and I don't think so, because the gamble of a live service game can make or break a company in general. Well, make it by as in it becomes their money printer, and they survive off of just that one title the entire time. And try to make other titles, but they can't because the multi-headed hydra of the corporations don't see eye to eye all the time. They can't seem to get their stuff together.
Right.
And or it just sinks and then the whole ship goes down and then you're never heard from again.
Which is really interesting because all these people keep trying to talk about. Like I see it on the Twitter discourse because I've been following the Stop Killing Games initiative pretty much since it started because I've actually followed Ross Scott as a content creator um, from the beginning. Basically, like I was watching him back when his only thing was Freeman's Mind, um, which is really good, by the way. You guys should watch it if you haven't. So like, uh, the thing that's really interesting is people keep trying to say that it's unprecedented, but it is. In fact, I can point out one really obvious and decently popular IP that absolutely took a live service game and turned it into a full single player experience, and that's Mega Man X Dive, which started off as a mobile game. And Cog and I actually were really into that back when it was in its mobile phase. And they retooled it, turned it into a single player experience with all content available. Like for the seasonal events, you just go to a drop down and you pick which seasonal event you want to have active at any time, and then you just play. You buy the game like your regular standalone single player game. You just buy it, and there you go. And Capcom makes money off of it. The game continues to exist, and honestly, it's way better because how do you make a gotcha game better? You make it anything but a gotcha game.
I think the other game you're into too. I think it unfortunately didn't survive as well as Mega Man X Dive did. I played that a little bit. I enjoyed it for what it was, but then the
Right.
mechanics started kind of getting and I was just like, I'm good on this. I'll just play the regular Mega Man games. Um, was Tekken.
Yeah, they created a kind of single player version that you could opt into before the final server cut off. And I don't know if they have a legacy plan for that, but Capcom didn't develop Tekken near as I know. I think that was actually a third party, so I don't know the details on that one as much.
It was a
So
third party. I don't know what their plan was either. I know that it seemed like they're keeping like a state of the game where you have what you have, but I don't know if you can get any, like you don't seem to like get any of the other cards or like that. If I'm wrong, please someone let me know. Oh, I didn't research that game post this. I played it a little bit and then I stopped.
I played it a
Just like most
lot.
other games I played.
But yeah, like it got pruned eventually. Like I played it a lot, and I was actually consistently in the champions rank. Cog and I both were. Funny enough, Cog started playing it before I did, and then he stopped, and then they introduced Zero, which is how I found it. Was Zero's character trailer, and I got into it, which got Cog back into it. And we were both consistently in champions ranked. We did very well for ourselves. But then after a while, like they quit making new heroes, and it just kind of started slowing down, and the cool gimmicks kind of just faded out. And I'm just like, I think I'm good. And then they announced like end of life, and I'm just like, that is a shame because Teppen is actually a really interesting card game. So
Epic
that
also has some really amazing art of characters
oh
that I
yeah.
like that will only see the light of day in Google searches at this point too, unfortunately.
Fortunately, in Teppen's case, there is a very dedicated fan wiki that literally has the art of every single card in the game. So all that art will not go to waste. We'll still be able to see it and admire it because
That's good.
it's very, very good art. You're absolutely
That's
right.
very good, yes.
Yes, and
I mean, Mega Man X, they had the crab, or is that two? I'm already forgetting
uh,
my Maverick bosses.
you mean Bubble Crab? That was X2.
Bubble Crab, that
Yeah,
was extra.
X2.
Yeah, he's in there. There,
They would had
yeah,
some
like
pretty
the
deep cuts. They actually had a whole set dedicated to Mega Man X Command Mission, and Capcom has not mentioned anything about Command Mission since the game was brand new. So that was really interesting. I think part of what Teppen's appeal was they could do lesser known, more obscure things and incorporate them organically into these decks. So
even and they had that one Breath of Fire one too
yeah,
that everybody was like, wait, what? They know what Breath of Fire
yeah, they had
is.
a Breath of Fire set. It was really good. It introduced the quest mechanic, which is like one of the best mechanics the game had. And then it turned out like the actual story, because Teppen had a story, believe it or not. And the actual story was Miria, the final boss of the Breath of Fires 1 and 3, who was the one who was the ultimate big bad evil of the story of Teppen. And I'm like, that's really cool, actually. Well played. And like that's the thing. I don't know if you can actually play Teppen anymore. I don't think you can opt in anymore at this point. I think it's too late.
Yeah,
Um,
it's unfortunately too late. I don't know. You might be able to find it on some other websites that you could probably get it from, but that's always kind of a risk and everything too.
there are I'm sorry, there are private servers that fans run. Uh, Fans somehow, I don't even know how, set up private servers of Dragalia Lost, another mobile game that I played. Um, and yeah,
I'm
like
not surprised about private servers at all. I mean, I've seen private servers for World of Warcraft and stuff like that
yeah,
forever now.
no,
So
definitely. But like, it's really exciting that there's these really passionate fans trying to keep these games alive. And this is something that I've argued for a very long time. Is if in the name of preserving the game, if your options are never play the game again, go screw yourself, or like piracy, then obviously piracy will always be the moral good. Um, I've seen so many people, like especially people younger than me, and this is the part that's actually like kind of comical because I'm an old man. So like people dramatically younger than us are just like, leave the big corporations alone, don't pirate their games. It's like these are 30-year-old games they're not supporting anymore. There's no way for us to support the game dev because there's no legal avenue to purchase the game. Ergo, piracy is not immoral in this context. Fight me.
yeah. In the case of like, and for a lot of people's cases where the games are not released in their areas too, a
Yeah.
lot of like I know a lot of older Japanese games that never saw the light of day in America that a lot of people brought over fan translated,
Yep.
and then the only way you get it is through piracy. But I mean,
That's how
you're not going to be able to get it and even have it specifically because I think Nintendo specifically, I don't know if they did it on older consoles. I know they started doing it on I think the new Switches and everything, but I think they have region locked consoles now. Now again, this is what I remember. If I'm wrong on it or if this has changed recently, please let me know. No, please correct me. I always like to be corrected on stuff. Is I think it's like if someone tried to buy a Switch 2 in Japan and they brought it to America, like, and I don't know, for some reason it either didn't work or like something did not work correctly, and they ended up having to return it, or they ended up returning it or selling it and getting one from America because of it too. And I was just like, that's very
Nintendo,
interesting.
as far as I know, now this could be I could be mistaken, but as far as I know, Nintendo has always had region locked consoles. I don't think that's ever changed. It was actually for a few years, I believe the PS1, 2, and 3 are regionless. I don't know about
Mhm.
the 4 and 5, so I can't say to that either way. But for a while, it was actually Sony that was kind of the impressive one because their stuff was not only not region locked, but actually had strong backwards compatibility. Whereas with Nintendo consoles, you get, if you're lucky, one console cycle of backwards compatibility and not a moat more because you still got to shell out fives of dollars to play Super Mario Bros. Again.
Yeah, and then their what's the word I'm looking for? Their backwards way of thinking for emulation, everything like that. They're
Yeah.
going after everybody, turning people into pretty much like money printers by suing them for millions upon millions of dollars, and then pretty much garnishing their wages is to pad their wallets. It's
Yeah.
insane to me,
Like,
but
I've done
it's
this
just
rant before. I've done this rant before, so I'm going to get this out real quick, and I'm not going to make a huge production out of this. But the AAA market needs to crash and burn to be resurrected as something better. We need another crash of '83 because we have these three leading companies, Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, are deliberately going full customer hostility. They are abolishing physical media. They are stripping the digital market. They are basically saying that you're buying a license for our product. And I see all these absolute smooth brain takes on Twitter where they're like, well, Steam kneecapped itself with the Steam Machine. It's like Steam Machine was a day late and a dollar short, but Steam is probably the most pro-consumer option available. And Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo are pioneering these terrible decisions that are going to make things worse, more expensive, and lower quality. And until all of them go belly up, at least their gaming divisions, things aren't going to get better, folks. You need to start voting with your wallet and really like ask yourself this, little Jimmy and Sally at home. the the PS6, whatever number Xbox we're on, and the Nintendo Switch 2 are pushing for this digital only, never on sale environment. Is that really what you want? Knowing full well that PC has all of these titles, all of the old titles as well, better versions of these titles, and the only thing the Switch 2 has is the worst Mario Kart installment? Is this the future you want? Because if it isn't, you guys need to stop lapping up whatever garbage they're throwing in front of you. Otherwise, this is going to be an ongoing problem.
So my take, and this one's a little bit more, I guess, I don't know the right word, polarized, but I haven't bought physical media in a while. I've mostly used Steam, and I can understand their wanting of getting away from physical media. But the thing is that when I play consoles, if I play consoles, it's been a long time. I'm not gonna lie. I've been solely PC for quite a while now. Now, is I usually buy the cartridge. I usually buy the physical media. I don't download it
Right.
on the thing. I'll buy it off Amazon. I'll buy it from GameStop. I'll buy it from, wherever I can get the actual physical piece because I like having the physical thing in my hand. And that's what I have grown up and done with all consoles. PC, I've never really done that. They got, disc media and stuff like that has gone to the wayside. Right, for PCs for quite a while now. Everything's on USBs and
Right.
mini SDs and all that stuff nowadays. So I can see where they're coming from. I think but I really don't support the full thing because you also run into the problem with it's kind of like when you had the memory cards back in I was got back in the PS2 era. Certain save files were so large, you had to get rid of other game save files for it to fit, or had to buy another memory card. It's just like, well, why are you making your? How come? Why are we making a save data so big? Why are we monopolizing the hard drive space you have in your PC now by making game? Why not being able to compress games properly and make them and making them like 1 terabyte large at this rate almost? Oh, so it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, optimization has been a recurring issue in the gaming development sphere, and the devs seem to have this mentality that like, oh well, you can just upgrade or you can just uninstall literally every other game you had to play our one crappy game. It's like, guys, there were entire media empires like Doom, Doom, the original Doom fit on a floppy disk, guys. Like,
I think they're at the point where Doom is like being run on like actual cells now or something like that. Like there was an article out there, you can look it up. I can't look it. I'm not gonna look up this thing because my keyboard's gonna pick up and it's gonna sound crazy. But people have been like putting Doom on literally everything. Like
yeah.
I'm not kidding when I say, hey, that cell, like someone like found like some cells or something like that, hooked it up to some kind of electro monitor and like had them play Doom of some sort or
See,
something like that.
that
It's
would not even surprise me, I'll be honest.
the turning your currency into their currency and then having it not worth exactly what you're trying to purchase. So you go into a game, you see a skin is worth like 1,400 credits or something like that and you get your transaction amounts like 500 credits is like $5, 1,000 credits like $10, and then 1,500 credits is $15. But your skin is only 1,400. So what do you do? Do you buy $15 worth of currency, or do you buy $15 worth of currency? Because that's how much it's going to come out to anyway, one way or another. And then
Yeah.
you have $1 or something like that left over that you didn't have to spend. And I know it seems minuscule at one point, but if you like a game enough and you want to keep spending money on it for whatever reason and keep buying stuff from it for whatever reason, and if you have that kind of disposable currency, that disposable money,
Yeah.
I don't see the problem why we can't just use real money. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Because I feel like if they're trying to dodge like transaction fees and stuff like that, you're still getting it one way or another because someone has to make that transaction to the premium currency.
Well, I can explain that actually. This is pretty well documented. What they do is it's basically a level of obfuscation. They're trying to hide what things actually cost. This is why you will almost never see, except maybe the lowest possible transaction, like, oh, for $1 you get 100 currencies. Like they'll maybe make that one transparent, but generally once you get to like real money and talking 10, 15, 20, and so on, like they'll start making things a little bit fudged, and they'll tell you, oh hey, your $20 gets you 1650 of our currencies. It's to make unclear what it is you're buying and how much. And then when you start getting into, I mean, it's one thing that they'll do even if you're just buying a currency with which to buy an item. Games, MMOs are particularly notorious for this, but it's actually a little messier in gacha games because not only do you not know how much you're buying, you have no idea what you're getting because gacha runs on blind box logic. So they're also not going to make it some quick and easy currency conversion because, well, your $20 might get you 1650 currencies, but it's 1800 currencies for a 10 pull. Like they play these little numbers games and they fudge these things around, and of course they've tested this. They test the limits of human psychology with things like this, which is why you'll see really odd but recurring numbers in these games, is because they've tested how far they can BS people before someone calls shenanigans on it.
There's another thing I don't like too, and I think Warframe went away from this because I think they had it before, but I think they got rid of it recently when they did their recalculation of all their their platinum currency. I think I could be wrong. I've seen it in a couple other games too, but that Warframe pops into my head because I think I saw it was when you're buying their more expensive currencies like the $15-$20, they'll say it's an amount, and then they'll say, oh, but you're also getting a 320 currency bonus for buying the higher
Yep.
tier for whatever reason. So I'm like, so it's actually this much. You're actually buying this much.
Yep.
There's no bonus to it. You're just buying the currency for it.
It's
I
the
don't know. It
same.
doesn't make any sense why
No,
you think it's a bonus.
it's the same psychology as the buy one get one free deal, because it sounds like you're getting a better bargain. Because it's like, oh, hey, really expensive thing gets me two things. Therefore, it's not that bad. But it's all psychology. They're just screwing with you to see how far they can push you. Now, don't get me wrong. In terms of Warframe, I have invested more money into Warframe than I care to openly admit. But Warframe is an excellent game, even if you don't spend any money on it. Like, it's already great. And you can even earn the premium currency by just playing the game. You don't have to put down real money to get the platinum. You can play and barter with other players, which honestly makes Warframe one of the more fair games in that respect. And it looks like they're doing very much a similar market model with Soulframe as well.
I
So,
also really like the fact that when they did their readjustment of the currency that they gave everybody, it's over now, unfortunately, so you can't get it. But
yeah,
anybody who decided to buy platinum, you got a one-time coupon where your purchase amount out was doubled pretty much. Like they literally said, if you choose a small amount denomination, or you choose the biggest denomination, and we give you double. Just straight up. I was like, okay, cool. Well, and then some people were like, well, is that kind of like not really? Because they're not obfuscating it behind like an additional thing. It's a one-time coupon. It's
right.
like it's like a buy one get one free you get from Pizza Hut when you buy so many pizzas or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's ethical ways to employ these systems. I have no qualms with the game wanting to make money. That's why you make a product, is to make money. That's logic. But you see, the thing is, like, you have the games that take it too far. Like, most gacha games are trying to sell you basically PNGs of characters or items and expecting you to pony up real world money because, again, blind box system. At least in the context of Warframe, like, the most recent thing I bought on Warframe was the Foley bundle. And they're like, this is what's in the Foley bundle. You get the frame, you get this weapon, you got a couple other things. And this is it. You play this much, you get the bundle. So I was like, you know what? I like that. And so I paid that much and I got the bundle. So you know what you're getting. You're not basically putting down money for funny money that is then subsequently put into basically a slot machine. Like, there's no better real comparison. It's basically gotcha. The people who are arguing that gotcha is legalized gambling, they kind of got a point.
In a way, yes, yes. But the thing with it is just like the same with with the box, the knife market and like Counter Strike, like and stuff like that. Is like you're opening a box to get a randomized item, which could be worth a lot of Steam bucks, stuff like that. But technically speaking, your Steam bucks cannot be turned into real money unless you go through illegal means.
Right.
So it's a gray area. Yeah, if anything.
It is. It is, and I think in this case I kind of see the argument on both sides. So, like, it's really hard to say.
I want
Now,
to also say I'm not advertising CS or Counter Strike 2's unboxing and boxing system. I think it's really stupid, and I'm just saying that in a logical sense, it's a gray area because you're not actually getting anything out of it that's going to give you back money or anything like that. You're just getting a or so have you, and doesn't give you any kind of like benefit of anything.
right.
The I've the only gotcha game I've really played. Oop. Oh, there we go. The one gotcha game I've only really played is ZZZ, Zenless Zone Zero. Now that one I played because it had a really cool aesthetic and everything like that, and I played a little bit. But I didn't. I think I put like maybe like $5 into it. I'll believe I put like I think like $5 or $10 into it, and for a little bit of extra currency or something like that, or for a couple extra pulls. But the thing I don't really like about it is the fact that a lot of these games as well is as you start getting higher and higher into the tiers and everything like that, you start realizing, hey, this A class character that I have is not cutting it anymore. Even though they're really cool, if I want to be able to do like the higher tier stuff, I need to make sure my entire team is S or S plus or however the gotcha system works. I don't know how their tier list works. I just know it works by the lettering system in a way.
Right.
Okay. And I know that some people are like, well, not this game. This game might not have it like that.
At present, I only have two gotchas on my phone. And funny enough, one of those is Line Monster Farm, and you can't actually spend real world money on it unless you have a Japanese bank account. So I literally cannot, even if I wanted to, and I wouldn't because Line Monster Farm has one of the most garbage gotcha systems I've ever seen. So the only true gotcha that I still play is Uma Musume. And the thing with Umas is you can power all of them up to 5 stars. There is nothing stopping you from getting a 1 or 2 star Uma who are like the common gotcha filler and then powering them up. You absolutely can. And they'll be really, really good. So you can just kind of play your favorites, honestly, which probably is the most fair way of going about it. Like, funny enough, that was a system Dragalia Lost used as well. And I actually had this one healer character I liked a lot. And I just powered her up to 5 stars because I liked her better than most of the other 5 star healers. So,
I see.
like I
Yeah,
said, there's fair ways of doing these things.
and again, full disclosure, I played a couple hours. I didn't really get super far into the Zelda Zero, and I'm not playing right now. So if something has changed, they made A ranks and stuff like that better, then cool, that's cool. But I just from the pure stat perspective and how and from characters and how characters played and everything, it felt like at least for most Gotcha games I've seen is that you need a whole team of S's if you want to make it to like the really high stuff. And to be like I guess viable for certain like more hardcore things. And
Right.
if you're not into that, I'm assuming you don't need them. But if you want to, if you're playing the game to play the game, and then I mean,
Yeah. No, definitely. And another thing a lot of these mobile games do, and not even exclusive to mobile games, like there's actually some actual like full-on console PC titles that do this as well, are the daily logins and the battle pass. And I gotta be honest,
now
folks, I've seen one game that has ever done battle passes right, and that's Deep Rock Galactic.
actually, the battle pass, I don't know if it's bouncing off of that or maybe it's just kind of an idea that the industry has gotten from it together. Was the battle pass that they put out for the week or the month or whatever, and then if you can't get through it all, it's still there for you to finish up later, or if you want to do it, or if you just want to go to the new one, you can. It's the there. It's slowly but surely. Thankfully, we're losing the battle pass FOMO that a lot of games have been doing. And they're going to hey, here's the battle pass. If you don't finish it, don't worry, you can go back to it later. And stuff like that. And I'm like, thank God, because it's really stupid that I have to, there's only so going to working 9-10 hours a day and then coming home and realizing you have to put 4 to 5 hours into a game and to make sure you get enough put in enough time and effort into getting everything from a battle pass. I mean it's ludicrous at one point. I mean
Yeah.
for and you say, well, this game's going to the kids are going like go to school for 5 or 6 hours and come home and do nothing but play video. Like yeah, I get that too, but the demographic has been, I feel like the demographic in general has been getting older one way or another, because there's a lot of people who still play video games who are in their 30s and 40s now still too,
No,
and usually the people who are in their 30s and 40s have more money than the people who are 15 years old.
that part's definitely true. I don't know about demographics, but I will say, the older people are the ones with the cash, sitting flush, so to speak. Now, the thing that's interesting is there's a psychological thing about this too. See, human psychology is really easy to manipulate and exploit, like way easier than you might be comfortable knowing. Uh, Daily logins, battle passes, those were made for a reason. And the reason is to make you treat the game like a habit rather than something that you're sitting down simply to enjoy. And you might be going, well, Snek, how does that work? Well, I will explain. You see, most mobile games and games that are emulating their strategies will get you in two different ways. The first being, there'll be the dailies. So you're like, oh gosh, I gotta get free stuff just for turning the game on. And then they'll usually do the opposite, where they limit how much you can play the game in a day. There's usually in most mobile games, there is an energy system. And the reasoning behind this is twofold. The first is making you wait before you try again instead of literally any other option, which, other games have used for years. Making you wait creates that, oh, I should check in on my game. It's trying to condition you via Pavlovian conditioning to treat the game like a habit, something that you just do as part of your routine. And the thing is, the energy system, you can thank South Korea for that. Because gaming addiction in South Korea was getting so out of hand that whenever they released a game like that, they had to put a limiter on how much you were allowed to play it during the day. So that's a
Yeah,
real
the
thing.
the thing you're talking about is called time gating. By the way,
Yes.
that's the I
Yes.
think that's I think it's the official term. There's been a couple of YouTubers out there, more prominent back in the day, that have brought up Dungeon Keeper. I think it was. I think that's the most egregious one, where like everything you had to do in your dungeon had a time limit, and if you wanted to break that time gate or make it shorter, you had to spend in-game like real currency or premium
Right.
currency to do it. Um, I know that like there's a right way and there's a wrong way to do this, and it kind of goes into the other topic I was gonna say was dailies and weeklies. It's like in like when I play Final Fantasy 14, when you do time when you have your limit on how much of the current like high tier tomestones you can get to get like some of the really higher end gear to make you stronger.
Right.
You're technically not being gated out of real any content or anything, except for maybe the really really hard raids that you need to get the gear for to be able to get past the DPS checks and everything like that. But it mainly will make you stronger to be able to do things easier. Or it's not stopping you. So it's not time gating. It's not really time gating. It's just making it so that way the people who grind it out don't grind it out in a day. They literally have nothing to do after that, after they completed the hardest content. Which
Right.
people tend to like to, get to do everything as fast as they can, whether it's for content creation or just that's how much time they have on their hands. Dailies and weeklies have been around for a very long time. I think the ones that I think get the most flack is like World of Warcraft, when they had your dailies and your dailies for rep grinding. That was the one where everyone, and you get that in Final Fantasy too, where every day you log in, you do the same or similar quests, and you slowly build up that rep bar. You see the bar go up just a little bit every day until you hit that, that peak, and then you get like a quest. You get like a little quest that gives you like an item or something, or in World of Craft's case, it gives you like it lets you purchase like recipes or something that you normally can't get.
Yeah, welcome to the wonderful world of hijacking human psychology. It's easier than you
Mhm.
expect.
And then in general, even though we talked about premium currencies, microtransactions in general, like games like Guild Wars, I can see why they do it. Games like Warframe, completely see why they do it. World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy 14. You guys are pay your guys, especially 14, because 14 you can pay for additional stuff because they have like three tiers. You have like the basic tier where you get like one character on like one character per server, and which all you really need. But you also can purchase, I think for $5 extra you get like the companion app, so you can like control like your like my brain on terminology, it just fails me every single time I want to talk about it. You got your little dudes at the bell that you ring for. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but
Oh,
they're
your
retainers.
your
They're retainers.
retainers,
Retainers.
yeah.
Yes. You can control them through the app, which is interesting. Or you control what they have on the marketplace and change prices and stuff like that. I believe for these acorns you get like every day. Hey, I didn't really use it that much. I was basically using it so if I was talking with friends or they were playing the game, I could talk to them while they're game to see if anything was going on. And it was also during the time I was doing, I was trying to get the medium house in Final Fantasy 2. People would tell me about it and stuff like that through the app. Either way, to get back on track, Guild Wars, it's a buy to play game. You spend the 30 or $40 to buy it. They're not making any more money after that unless you buy microtransactions. They can't keep the servers running. They can't keep everything else running unless you buy the microtransactions. It does suck that some of the cooler armor, some of the cooler transmog, some of the cooler stuff is locked by it. I guess the only real power gaming that has, which I saw in Guild Wars 2, was some of the gathering, most of your gathering tools in that game, if I remember correctly, in game have a limit. Like you can only, like I think they break after a certain amount of uses. The ones you get don't have a break limit, and they have some cool animation to go for it. I don't believe it made anything better or anything like that. So I think it was more of a convenience than anything else, which I mean in itself is not a great thing to do. But there are games that you could buy a whole set of a whole set of armor, so like that back in the day, and like be like one of the strongest people in the game. That's the most egregious and terrible part of it.
Pay to
Warframe,
win.
say Warframe, somewhat in this, not the same thing. You could buy boosts that help you get more experience for your frames to level them up faster, or you get more credits or more resources. It doesn't really power you up in any other way,
Yep.
though. It doesn't give you an advantage of any sort, or other than you just make it easier to grind for certain things you're trying to get. Yeah,
Warframe
and even
is pay to grind less, not pay to win.
yes,
Because
exactly,
if you don't work your butt off to get the mods and the endo to power up those mods, you're still gonna be throwing bits of tissue paper and like wadded up frozen peas. Like
pretty
you're
much.
you're still gonna be super weak. You got to put in the work. Because let me tell you, I've been working really hard to make Foley the most powerful thing in the game, and I still have a ways to go. But it wouldn't have been possible had I not put in the work to get the mods and power them up in the first place.
And then you can possibly trade some of your mods for other mods to make it more strong, to make them more powerful.
Yep.
You can also, you can sell some of your more rarer mods for platinum currency to maybe purchase a mod or two that you might need from somebody else. I mean, Warframe has a kind of a really cool kind of market, and as we said, even though the premium currency is, if you do it right, it's fine, and if you do it right, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. If you do it right, it's still not the best thing in the world, because there's still a form of obfuscation for it, which I just don't like. I'd rather spend the money on it. But they're probably one of the least egregious ones in it, because it's not like because it's not like some other games out there that have that particular issue.
Yeah.
Where it's just, you just buy the currency, it just sits there until you just sits there and does nothing until you buy more, and then you just never technically ever run out, because there's always going to be that little bit that you never spend. Um, but like games like World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy 14, and that's, I think, one of the big black marks on 14 is the fact that a lot of some really cool gear, transmogs, and everything you can get is through the Mog Station only, and that's the only way you can get it. Now, there are still cool Mogs and stuff like that people make in game. There's still a lot of cool armors and stuff people make in game, but there's also some pretty cool stuff you get in the market. You can only get in the market only, and I think that's kind of cruddy. Especially
Yeah.
recently, I did not know this, but there's I can't remember, one of other Square Enix's games, something Fantasia, if I remember correctly. They have an armor set. They have a couple armor sets you can get from the characters. They were running a FOMO sale on it. You can only buy it after a certain amount of time, and after that, it's gone. And I was like, that's insane. Hey, it's your guys' market. How are you guys not going to leave it for people to play it? Why is it get it now or not get it ever? That one made me feel like that was more of a Square Enix decision than a 14 decision, personally, since it was going between companies. Because it could have been a 14 decision. I don't know. I just think it's pretty. That's pretty bad, though.
Right.
When it comes to and adding FOMO on top of it, and that kind of stuff. But I think the big thing is that I think the big thing in general of talking about all this is that you could do live service games correctly, as long as you have as long as you are making the understanding that you're going to probably be taking losses, and you're going to make ways so you can make money, but not, try not to screw over the person too much, because they're going to kind of screw. I'm assuming you're going to have to screw the person one way or another, in some way. In some way to do it, because no game is ever 100% pure, or else they would never make money to ever do it. But like there are definitely versions that there are the right ways to do it. There are definitely versions of the wrong way to do it. Um, like the I think because I think remember in Zenless there was a time gate mechanic where you can only do certain I think certain missions or certain things within a certain time limit before you run out of energy too, which I didn't like. Which I might have taken out because I remember I played that during the beta. Which if it was out, then it's out, then that's fine. Um, I think the one thing that needs to go though, or at least needs to be heavily considered out, is the premium currency. Because if you're just like Guild Wars 2, like I've bought armor sets and stuff like that out of there that look really cool because I've played hours and hours and hours and hours of that game. And you know, I feel they definitely I've warranted me spending a little bit of money in the game. Same as Warframe. I've spent money in Warframe too. They don't ask for anything besides the platinum, and I'm like, okay, I'll buy some stuff. I'll buy some platinum, and then we get some here. I don't like the idea of buying platinum. I'd rather just do the Guild Wars thing and buy. Oh no, Guild Wars has a premium currency too. They have the goddamn gems. I forgot. Gosh darn it! You can't get away from premium currencies, unfortunately. But either way, it's I think premium as long as the premium currency is if you're buying. I would like it if you just bought the currency and the thing you're trying to buy is that currency. If we could just make it that way, that would be so much better. Because I know some people are like, well, I don't like the idea of my number hitting zero for some reason. I don't know why, maybe, but it's just like I would love it if my thing every time I bought what I needed, it would hit zero, so I know that exactly where I'm at when it comes to money. I don't have to sit here and calculate it out real quick in my head or something like that. If I'm going to actually have enough currency, or if I'm going to need to buy another $5 pack because I'm 50 credits short or something like that, which is insane. Once again, by the way.
Yeah, and the thing is, it benefits these game companies to not tell you like real. That's why they don't want you to just be able. Oh, this item is $5. Do you wish to buy this for $5 dues? And they don't want you to have that accessibility because the obfuscation is in many cases the point.
And we need to stop thinking the battle passes is the way to get people always to play the game. And Street Fighter 6, I don't understand why you guys have a pass in that for gear and stuff like that. Uh, I play the game as much as I do because I have the time and the patience to play that game. And sometimes I get a little angry and I'll get off the game earlier. Or sometimes that's just because I'm on a losing streak or I just don't like fighting the new one of the new characters that you guys really released recently. But that's just me being a scrub. The Sims, the game I play every once in a while for some mindless fun playing as God for some reason. And there's no reason for that game to have a battle pass. If you did not know, The Sims has a battle pass for some reason. And it's not really a battle pass. It's more like a play, and if you log in, you get a little pass here and there. Sometimes you have to do a little mission that they have to do. It doesn't, but if you don't do it, I don't, at least in my knowledge, you don't get any of the stuff that you could, that is unlocked unless it comes back around, which to my knowledge is insane. If that's different or if they've changed that recently, again, let me know. Oh, but oh my gosh, I was like, out of all the games that have some sort of battle pass or like, pay or play to get stuff was the Sims of all things. Oh my gosh. Oh, and to go back to microtransactions. I know as well that Guild Wars does, and so does Final Fantasy. That they do, or no, sorry, I'm gonna specifically say Guild Wars in this case because Guild Wars is the only game that's buy to play. Final Fantasy and Warcraft do the sub, which you have to buy. Then you have to buy their expansions for to continue to play the game. Guild Wars is the only one that is buy to play, and then you buy their expansions, and I understand that because like Warframe, you don't have to buy anything to play their current expansions or anything like that. The missions are just an thing. I don't feel that's a hard line reason why they shouldn't have micro or why they can't make more money on the side, by the way. Because they're still not making money until they make that expansion. And expansions cost money to make. And if they don't make enough money, they can't make that expansion, or they can't make the new game because the Guild Wars 3 has been announced, which I'm somewhat excited for. I'm hoping certain things are better and certain things are different. And I actually also need to go through and play through the rest of Guild Wars because I stopped after like the third expansion because I just ran out of time and interest. I'll be honest, that was kind of my spiel. Is just trying to get off a couple things that I've just been seeing that I wish some things would change. Some things,
Uh,
some
um,
companies are doing something good. Some companies doing stuff that's better. Some companies that are doing it worse. Some things I have no idea why they even exist. Is Battle Pass FOMO. Just make it so that way you can go back to it. Don't make it so people have to go. Because I think there was someone had mentioned one thing that I thought was really interesting was if you're in a cycle and for whatever reason like you break the cycle for some reason like something breaks the cycle you're in you can't like you had to work extra late that day or you know for whatever reason something happened and you couldn't get to your game and you lose that streak. Some people are like, wow, I broke the streak and now I don't have like my 2000 days played anymore. Why do I play this game again? Like it's like almost like a wake up call in a sense for some people. Well, to realize much the game has controlled them. Back to your psychology
yep.
point, by the way, before or and it's really weird because and I think that the battle pass FOMO is one of the more egregious problems with that is because is the needing to keep playing to be able to get everything and spend all your time only playing this when there are other games to be playing too, which you know other companies don't want you playing their other people's game. They want you to be playing their game, which is understandable. Well, but you there's better ways of getting people to play the game, like you know actually making it good.
No, that is a very fair point. Like, there's I've heard it said that there's no such thing as a bad mechanic, just bad implementation, and I think that there's probably some truth to that.
That's
Uh,
fair.
that
I can agree with that.
Yeah, like a game has to monetize itself, and it either does it at the front end when you buy the game, or it does it on the back end with things that you can buy later on. And some games do both. Whether that's a good idea or not is up for debate. Like I've told I haven't made this a secret by any stretch, but I really like the Dead or Alive fighting games. Really good stuff. But honestly, Tecmo Koei doesn't know how to responsibly handle DLC as a concept. Like they just decided to do DOA 6 last round, and there's no upgrade option if you already have DOA 6. They're adding like one new character, and all the DLC packs are like back again, and you have to repurchase them. And there's no option for like an Ultimate Edition or anything like that. So you're just SOL. And I'm like, guys, Tecmo, I love you guys. You made Monster Rancher. I love Monster Rancher. Holy crap, get your act together.
And the fact that a lot of companies don't see their older IPs as being any sort of profitable or anything anymore. Or to be perfectly honest, with the current how the current market is sitting with AAA games for certain companies, I don't want some of the properties to come back anymore because I'm definitely afraid that someone's gonna make some wrong decision somewhere and completely botch the entire thing.
Yeah, probably. Like that's the danger of it too, is the development cycle itself is kind of a hellscape right now. Because these people have these ideas, and they'll usually chase trends from like 5 years ago because these people are really out of the loop. And they'll spend huge amounts of time and money, enormous swaths of time, 5 7 year development hells, and like they'll spend more money on pointless things than the GDP of some nations, trying to like, oh, people definitely want the celebrity voice actor, so we're gonna just shell out a few extra million for those. And they're shooting themselves in the foot. Like when Square Enix had the rights to Tomb Raider, uh, when they released the prequel games, they budgeted them such that they would have to have sold more copies of the game than there were PS4s on the market at the time. Like, you want to know why FromSoft always makes like ridiculous amounts of money? Is because they made a deal with an obscure British theater troupe, and they do all the voice acting in all their FromSoft games. and they charge them like nothing because they're not celebrities. They're not A-list celebrities. So like, duh, they actually budget for success. And they don't spend 8 years churning out a game that would have appealed to a trend from 8 years ago. So maybe, just maybe, AAA gaming just needs to die, and maybe, just maybe, we'll actually see like single and double A development start happening again. Wouldn't that be the day? This is why
I
I
don't
push the indie sphere so much.
does Dark Souls and other FarmSoft games have a ton of voice acting in them? For most of the Dark Souls games I've played, there is a decent amount of voice acting, yes, but nothing on the long lines of a lot of other games
Oh
that are
no,
out there on the market.
no. Generally, like the major characters will have voiceovers, like the really plot significant NPCs. From what I've seen, I haven't played all their games, so I can't testify to like breadth and depth. But yeah, they have some, and like I said, they're all done by this like one theater troupe, and they do like
Hmm.
everything.
Okay. I was gonna
So
say because
yeah,
I've played a couple of FromSoft games and I never got really far into any of them. I get too angry and I end up just wanting to stop
play Lost
because I've.
Kingdoms. It's one of those games like a lot of people want to die on the Bloodborne hill because they want a PC port for Bloodborne, and you know what? Respect, but if you guys don't know true suffering unless you're a fan of the Lost Kingdoms games from the Nintendo GameCube era, because those games were fantastic from soft titles, and nobody talks about them anymore because they aren't the lol super hard to meme status. They were just good card collector RPGs.
Interesting. And then the whole fact that I think Sony has also stated that all of their single player games are going to be exclusive now, except for their live service games, which to my knowledge, most of Sony's live service games, I'll have to look them again, but most of them are not really worth playing anyway. So,
Like that this okay, this is going to be my controversial statement for the episode. The era of the console is behind us, and consoles as a concept need to die off. Now, this is interesting for me to even say because like 10 years ago, I would have been like in the precise opposite camp because at the time, like I feel like they actually had a niche to call their own, especially like I would say the Wii S360 era was probably the last balanced console cycle. Ever since then, all we've gotten are stripped down PCs with very small proprietary operating systems. That's all modern consoles are. They're just bad PCs that you can't do anything with. And the thing is, consoles bring to mind the same problem of planned obsolescence that modern smartphones do. They, if the market's going to improve, ladies and gentlemen, consoles as a concept need to die off. And something really needs to be done about Microsoft's stranglehold in the OS space. But that's a different argument entirely. But it's really time for Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft to all just go belly up and be done.
I don't know about Nintendo. Nintendo has like their own island that they sit on,
No,
and that
they
thing is heavily fortified. All right, at this point, Sony and Microsoft, at least for Sony's sake, the whole thing with all their games going to be single player exclusive. If it's anything like how they've advertised, not advertised, but how the numbers they were thinking they're going to make, I'm assuming most of those, even for their bigger top, a lot of them are like, well, they kind of didn't exceed the expectations. I'm like, well, yeah, because they weren't on what half the world is on at this point. I mean, because at least I don't know the metrics, but I don't think the PS5 is like the biggest console in the world right now. I think PC gaming is like again that spot in most cases is. But if you're just alienating like a good chunk of your people, you're gonna need to bring those numbers way down at that point, or else every single studio that's making a game for you is gonna fail, and then you're gonna dissolve all of them, and then you're not gonna have a studio company. You're not gonna have a video game studio company anymore.
yeah, that's kind of the reality. But I would argue, yeah, Nintendo's got to go. The thing with the download cards, the jacking game prices up to 80 as standard, yeah, they got to go on the chopping block, and the sooner they do, the better. And
And I will.
honestly, the Switch 2 is another Wii U Virtual Boy era for them, from what I've seen. People are arguing till they're blue in the face with me. No, no, the Switch 2 is actually really, really good, you guys. It's like, it has the processing power of an Xbox 360, And the best thing it can argue for is that it has a bunch of Switch 1 ports, which, yeah, I actually have a Switch 1, so I have all those games. So great.
But
What else do you have? Well, you have, like I said, the worst installment of Mario Kart since the GBA. You have the new Donkey Kong. Congrats. You have Babby's first platformer. Great. And that's it. And you have Switch One
so I'm
ports.
so I'm gonna so I my bat has been for Nintendo for a long time. It has not been for a while now, but when it was Wii Clockwork back in the day, hey, I was ride or die for Nintendo for a good amount because I loved the Zelda games. I loved Mario was always really fun. Like a lot of their main franchises have always been really fun and
Right.
everything. It's not like that much anymore. Or the thing I like about Nintendo, this is I'll tell you but the thing I like about Nintendo is most of their games generally work well. Because I've seen like Sony and Xbox games where like you'll be playing and then an error or something will pop up and there's like, and it says like this game didn't work for some reason. And you're just like, oh, we're getting errors now and like just completely cutting games. Like that's a very PC problem right there. That's to kind of go to your point about consoles becoming more PCs. To my knowledge, at least for most Nintendo games, I have not seen that. So most of them seem to work, or at least they keep their standard of what is good and what can't be released is still up there. The one thing I will say that's really bad is the Switch is as we were saying the Switch 2 because they almost marketed this console as like, hey, it's the Switch 1 but better. You remember that Dynasty Warriors game for the Legend of Zelda Dynasty Warriors game we made that runs terribly? Now it runs better, and I'm like, well, cool. Oh, that's nice, but do we have more of that? Like, no, not really. And I'm like,
Nope.
that's interesting. And so what you're I'm hearing is that we should have just waited and then waited for the Switch 2 and not the Switch 1. And for the and for the consoles in general, because I know a lot of people are talking like, what about the Steam Cube and the Steam Deck, or Steam's consoles? The Steam Deck, from what I'm told, is nice because you can load it up your Steam account. It runs on offline mode. It runs on offline mode, so you can have a lot of the games installed on it. You can play and run a lot of those games, which is really cool. And they have their whole little thing saying like, what games work and what games don't. And I believe a good amount of like the more popular titles do, which is really cool. Well, and it's a handheld. You pretty much a handheld PC. The Steam Cube runs the same thing as like a console, which Steam is very late to the game on. And I think it was a cool idea. It still mostly runs as a PC. So I know a lot of people are talking about, well, hey, I can buy this weak pre-built PC, weaker pre-built PC, because I think it runs around the same as the Steam Deck or a little bit stronger, I think. Um, and I could do a dual system where I'll have my streaming or my recording equipment on my PC, but I'll just run the game or whatever on my Steam Cube, and then that way my computer's not running double the workload to get this to work, which is a cool idea. Not everybody is a streamer, not everybody is a content creator,
Yeah.
so it's a bit of a niche product in that case, but if we're going to be getting out of the specialized hardware, because what was it like? I think it was. I know this is not true anymore because I believe you can now, but for the longest time you were like, oh, you can't emulate PS3 because of their. I think it's like their CPU, their GPU uses like a super specialized like system or something like that, and it took them forever to be able to figure out and get it to work properly or something like that because a lot of it was PlayStation proprietary and everything like that slowly de-obfuscated and stuff like that. But if we're getting out of specialized hardware at that point, I mean, and everything, as you said, is going to run as a PC, at least make sure it runs properly too.
There's that,
But
and I'll tell you an interesting what if, and this has been in the rumor mill for the last like 3 years. But if Gaben wants to become the hero of the people more than he already is, he needs to make the Steam OS a real thing.
I believe he said that it might become a thing. I think they're still working on it, or don't take that to heart. when I say that people who might be listening, a lot, like I said, a good amount of my stuff I run off of memory, and my memory is not always the best, as I've told in this video a couple times. Now, I'll definitely probably be researching some of the stuff I said and probably kicking myself in my butt later.
If we
Later,
make
but
a mistake, I can pin a comment underneath this and be like, "Hey, by the way, update to what I said."
yeah,
Had to do that
um,
before.
but yeah, yeah. So the one thing I liked about it, I don't know if he'll still keep to this nowadays, but I remember I heard there was either an interview or something like that that Gabe did say that if Steam were to ever go down and under, and for some reason Steam had to shut down for some reason, that he would unlock the library for the games so that way every game that you purchase did not require Steam to run. And I know that some games don't require that. Like you can download the game, you can just run it off the exe and bypass Steam entirely. But
Right.
he made it seem like that if Steam were to ever something happened to Steam and ever go down or something like that, that he would unlock it so that none of the games you purchase require Steam. And I thought that was really cool. Well, I'm like that kind of gives me a confidence that when I buy this digital product, even if it's a license or something like that, I'm still going to be able to get it. Unlike Sony, who recently delisted a couple of videos or movies off their system and removed it from people's libraries,
Yep.
which is the stupidest, horrible thing I've ever heard. And I will never be purchasing anything from PlayStation again because that is foul.
Yep.
You do not do that. That is that is S rank BS.
Yeah. No, full agreement. It's not the first time they've done it, and Lord knows it won't be the last because Sony has the, memory span of a fruit fly's lifespan. But so,
I have on my Steam library right now. Whether it'll run or not, I don't know. Oh, but that's a different story. That's hardware and everything running in general. I could go into my Steam library right now and I can download Deadpool, the game that has been delisted off of Steam, and I can run it. Or I can play it if I can get it to run.
right.
And it is still a game that I can still play. Uh, I don't know if they have it listed anymore. I'm not gonna look it up at the second. Like I said, all the noise and everything. But if Fable 3 is still on Steam, I don't know if it is. I recently downloaded that game, got a fan patch to bypass the games for Windows thing that no longer exists, and game literally doesn't run if it can't connect to it. And I played Fable 3 for a good 11, 12 hours the other day. They doing a bunch of task and everything and buying up like an entire village and stuff like that in Fable 3. Hey, it is still a game that you can download and play. Hey, even if it's been delisted. That's why Steam for the most part has been and GOG for that reason. I've heard GOG is also really good about a lot of this stuff. I've never used GOG that much personally,
Hmm.
but I've heard that they're pretty similar in that you buy a game it is a game that you're going to be able to play, hey, unless something egregious or some kind of legal snafu happens of certain cases. I'm assuming that especially since I think what Steam is or Gabe is has a bunch of lawyers going on right now because fighting I think in New York last I heard because of the whole um loot box gambling thing too. So I know that's a little off topic of what I was just saying, but I mean I would hope that company being a company that hopefully they'll be like, hey, we can't do this because this will make us look terrible and we'll just lose all the money in the world if we did whether it's good for the consumer or not. It's a terrible look to do that. And I know that if people really saw that Sony would be and know what Sony is now capable of doing to you, that I don't know anybody who would want to play or run a PlayStation game anymore, or
Yeah.
buy a PlayStation game knowing full well that it could just disappear the next day.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is the reality of the AAA market.
Viva
And
la indie revolution.
yeah, I mean that is literally what my channel is all about. So,
I follow a decent amount of indie developers and everything on X, or I try to at least in some games. Some games are looking really cool. Games look really cool. Not gonna for the sake of everything, not going to shout anything out, but if you're looking for indie games or people who are advertising cool indie games, I would look. X is a giant cesspool of hate and just junk, but there are some gems on there for the and me being terminally online at this rate. And I'll fully admit that I have found some gems and some cool developers on there to that I watch their games for or have played.
Nice. Yeah, no, we'll probably do an episode about really cool indie games that we like a lot. That'd be a really good one. Um, yeah, there's a lot going
I might need
on with
I might need to be
respects.
refreshed on. I might need to be refreshed on what is considered an indie game, though. Oh, because the indie title has escaped me a little bit because I kind of considered at one point Supergiant and to be an indie company, and some people say that they're not an indie company; they're like a double A company now
They
because they have really
started,
success
yeah, they
because they have
started indie.
mhm,
Yeah,
which
like,
is and
sorry,
I
dude, go
love
ahead.
Supergiant games, by the way. I love Supergiant games, by the way. I haven't played Hades 2 yet, which is a terrible, terrible thing that I have done, and I want to rectify that soon once I get more money and stuff like that from my job and everything like that. But I have played and I have loved pretty much every game from Supergiant. I am. But like for the purposes of it, for the definition of indie, I consider them until this point indie. But apparently my definition might be wrong. So.
That's another one that could be an entire episode unto itself. Is like, when does indie stop being indie? Uh,
Right.
I think that'd be a really interesting one. I think we should try to get Lone Ranger and Dutaku up in here for that, because I think they'd have a lot of insights on that.
I think they would too.
So I think we have just about covered the basis for today's episode. So thank you for joining me, Master Clockwork.
All good. And hopefully at one point I'm not gonna put no stamp of approval on it. I'm still kind of working on stuff here. If it ever happens or if anything, I will probably do this. We were having some mic trouble on my end for this video that I'm gonna try to fix. But I'm hopefully at one point at one other. If you follow me on X, that's at clock fiction, and I don't even remember my own freaking handle at this rate. Clock fiction, yes.
It's in the description of every video. Everyone should be able to
Oh,
see our socials.
okay. If you go down and find me, I'll generally be posting when I go live on Twitch or and hopefully YouTube if I can get the multi-streaming to work. Mostly Twitch though. So once I go live and you'll see it there. Eric, come follow me, come hang out. We'll be playing. We play a lot of older games, retro games, some newer games, depending on what I'm feeling that day.
All right, sounds good. So this has been the Hipster Snek, and this has been the Tomodachi Bros podcast. Please do that like, comment, subscribe thing that I am obligated by law to beg for every episode. And we will see you guys next time.
Laters.